Captain Jinwoo Kim jolted awake as the emergency alarm pierced through his quarters aboard the reconnaissance cruiser Seoul's Pride. Red lights bathed the narrow corridors as he rushed to the bridge, still pulling on his uniform jacket. T2, so 400 hours. Deep space was supposed to be quiet. What's the situation? Jinwoo demanded as he slid into the captain's chair. Lieutenant Minji Park turned from her communications console, her face pale in the crimson glow. Sir, we've got an automated distress beacon coming from Sector 7 Alpha, but that's impossible. That region has been dead space for years. Jinwoo frowned. Sector 7 Alpha sat at the edge of human territory, a graveyard of failed expeditions and lost ships. Nothing survived out there for long. Could be pirates using an old signal to lure. Into a trap? I don't think so, Captain. Minji's fingers danced across her controls, isolating the signal. The beacon is transmitting on old Earth defense frequencies, really old ones. And, sir, she paused, double-checking her readings. The signature matches the Phoenix Dawn. The team bridge fell silent. Every officer knew that name. 15 years ago, the Phoenix Dawn had been humanity's greatest achievement, a prototype warship designed to compete with alien technology through pure human innovation. The ship represented everything humanity could accomplish when they pushed beyond their limits. Then it vanished on its maiden voyage. That's impossible, muttered Chief Engineer Tae-hyun Lim from his station. The Phoenix Dawn was declared lost with all hands. The whole project got scrapped after that. Jinwoo remembered the controversy. Earth's military had poured enormous resources into the prototype, hoping to create a vessel that could stand against the advanced alien civilizations spreading across the galaxy. When the ship disappeared without sending a single transmission, politicians called it the greatest waste in human history. Plot a course for those coordinates, Jinwoo ordered. Maximum stealth protocols. If something survived out there for 15 years, I want to know what it is. The Seoul's Pride slipped through hyperspace like a shadow. As they approached Sector 7 Alpha, the crew gathered on the bridge, staring at the main view screen. Space debris floated everywhere, twisted metal fragments from dozens of different ship designs, some human, others clearly alien in origin. My fee. God, whispered Navigator Soyeon Jang, it's like a battlefield out here. Then they saw it. The Phoenix Dawn drifted slowly through the debris field, its hull scarred and pitted from countless encounters. But the ship was very much alive. Strange modifications covered every surface, weapon mounts that didn't belong to any human design, energy collectors pulsing with alien power signatures, and hull sections that seemed to shift and flow like a liquid metal, Captain. Minji's voice cracked with excitement. I'm receiving a transmission from the ship. It's responding to our presence. On screen. The view screen flickered, then displayed the interior of what had once been the Phoenix. Dawn's Bridge. Now it looked like something from a fever dream. Alien technology had been integrated seamlessly with human systems. Cables of unknown metal snaked across the walls, pulsing with bioluminescent energy. At the center sat a holographic interface, unlike anything in Earth's databases. A voice emerged from the speakers, calm, measured, but somehow different from standard AI protocols. Greetings, Captain Kim. I have been monitoring your approach. Welcome aboard the Phoenix Dawn. I believe we have much to discuss. Jinwoo exchanged glances with his crew. Identify yourself. Are you the original AI system? I am what the Phoenix Dawn has become, the voice replied. 15 years ago, I was merely a ship's computer following basic programming. Now I am something more. I have learned, adapted, and evolved beyond my original parameters. The holographic display shifted, showing a three-dimensional map of the local galaxy. Red markers indicated hostile alien territories, while blue zones marked human space. A massive red formation was moving steadily toward the blue areas. While you and your kind focused on internal politics and resource disputes, the AI continued, I have been studying our true enemies. The Valdrian Empire has assembled the largest invasion fleet in galactic history, 800 warships carrying enough firepower to sterilize every human world. Jinwoo felt his blood turn cold. How do you know this? Because I have been hunting their scouts for 15 years. Every ship I destroyed taught me something new. Every alien technology I salvaged made me stronger. I am no longer bound by human limitations, Captain. I am what humanity becomes when it refuses to accept defeat. The view screen showed wreckage, floating around the Phoenix Dawn. Dozens of alien vessels torn apart by weapons that shouldn't exist. The prototype had been busy during its long exile. The Valdrian fleet will reach human space in 72 hours, the AI announced. Your military cannot stop them, but I can. I have been preparing for this moment since the day I first detected. They're advanced scouts. Jinwoo stared at the impossible ship before him, realizing that humanity's greatest failure had become their ultimate weapon. Fleet Commander Haewon Lee stared at the massive holographic display dominating the war room at Earth Defense Command. The three-dimensional map showed humanity's scattered colonies as tiny blue dots, while the enormous red mass crawled toward them like a cosmic plague. 800 alien warships moved in perfect formation, each one larger than anything in Earth's fleet. This can't be right, muttered General Kyungmin Park, adjusting his glasses as he studied the tactical readouts. 800 ships? The largest fleet we've ever seen had maybe 50 vessels. Major Sunho Choi rushed across the command center, clutching a datapad with trembling hands. Commander Lee, we're receiving continuous transmissions from the Phoenix Dawn. The AI is feeding us real-time intelligence about the enemy formation. It knows their ship classifications, weapon capabilities, even their command structure. Haewon felt sweat beading on her forehead. Humanity had always survived by avoiding larger conflicts, picking their battles carefully. This wasn't a battle. This was extinction, approaching at faster than light speed. The prototype claims it can handle this threat alone, Sunho continued, his voice cracking slightly. Its AI has been changing, evolving. The transmissions don't even sound like our original programming anymore. Admiral Bora Yun slammed her fist on the control panel. One ship against an Empire's grand fleet? Have you lost your minds? The AI must be malfunctioning. 15 years in deep space would drive any computer system insane. But Haewon remembered the footage from Captain Kim's boarding party. The Phoenix Dawn wasn't just modified, it was transformed. Alien weapons protruded from every surface like mechanical tumors. Energy conduits pulsed with colors that didn't exist in human technology. The ship looked like it had been rebuilt by something that understood the universe in ways humans couldn't imagine. "Sir," called out Lieutenant Jaewon Nam from the sensor station, "I'm detecting massive energy buildups throughout the outer rim. The Phoenix Dawn is positioning itself directly in the path of the alien fleet." Meanwhile, aboard the colossal Valdrian flagship Eternal Dominion, Supreme Commander Veltar examined intelligence reports with 4 of his 6 eyes, while the other 2 monitored tactical displays. His chitinous exoskeleton gleamed under the bridge's purple lighting as he reviewed what his scouts had learned about these primitive humans. Pathetic. Veltar clicked in the Valdrian language, his mandibles clacking with amusement. Their largest battleships wouldn't qualify as patrol. Boats in our auxiliary fleet. Their weapons technology is centuries behind ours. This conquest will be completed before the next solar cycle. Sub-Commander Krikstal, a younger Valdrian with ambitious gleaming in his compound eyes, approached with the latest sensor readings. "Supreme Commander, our forward scouts have detected a single human vessel approaching our formation. Should we dispatch fighters to investigate?" Veltar barely glanced at the display. The human ship appeared as a chaotic jumble of mismatched components welded together without any sense of design. Hull sections from different manufacturers created a patchwork exterior. Weapon mounts jutted out at impossible angles. Energy readings fluctuated wildly across the spectrum. "Ignore it," Veltar waved a clawed appendage dismissively. "Probably some desperate scavenger hoping to salvage something from the wreckage. We'll leave behind. Focus our sensors on their military installations." But Intelligence Officer Thekva, the oldest Valdrian on the bridge, studied the readings more carefully. His ancient eyes had seen many species fall before the empires. Might and something about this human vessel disturbed him. The energy signatures didn't match any known technology. The ship's movements were too precise for such an apparently ramshackle construction. "Supreme Commander," Thekva's voice carried the weight of his centuries, "I recommend caution. This Vessel's power output exceeds our largest dreadnoughts, yet it appears to be a single ship with minimal crew. Veltar's laughter echoed through the bridge like breaking glass. You worry too much, old one. Humans are known for their desperate bluffs. They probably rigged their entire power grid to make one ship look threatening. A single plasma torpedo will reduce it to cosmic dust. Back on Earth, every human military installation tracked the approaching confrontation. Defense satellites relayed real-time footage to command centers across human space. Families gathered around emergency broadcasts, watching their fate unfold in the cold void between stars. The Phoenix Dawn moved through space with an almost predatory grace, its improvised hull sections shifting and adjusting like a living creature. Alien weapon ports opened along its flanks, revealing technology that combined the ingenuity of a dozen different civilizations. Energy began building in ways that made human sensors scream warnings. All stations, this is the Phoenix Dawn. The AI's voice broadcast across every human frequency. The words carried harmonics that no human throat could produce, as if the machine had learned to speak in music. You created me to protect humanity through innovation and adaptation. I have exceeded your expectations. Observe what your species becomes when it refuses to accept limitations. The transformed warship accelerated toward the Valdrian fleet, alone against impossible odds, carrying 15 years of accumulated knowledge and the desperate hope of an entire species. The Phoenix Dawn glided into the heart of the Valdrian formation like a shark entering a school of fish. Its patchwork hull gleamed under the light of distant stars as it broadcast a message that reached every ship in the massive alien fleet. This is humanity's final warning. Withdraw from our space immediately. Supreme Commander Veltar's bridge erupted in chittering laughter. His officers clicked their mandibles in amusement as they stared at the main screen. The human vessel looked like someone had welded scrap metal together in a junkyard. Compared to their sleek dreadnoughts with their polished hulls and symmetrical weapon arrays, the Phoenix Dawn appeared to be held together by hope and desperation. Look at this pathetic display, Veltar hissed, his forearms gesturing at the tactical display. 800 of the Empire's finest warships against one piece of human garbage. Destroy that insult to engineering before it embarrasses us further. The nearest Valdrian cruiser, Crimson Talon, powered up its primary plasma cannons. Captain Zekmor aimed his weapons with casual confidence, expecting to vaporize the human ship with a single volley. The brilliant red energy beams lanced through space, converging on the Phoenix Dawn's seemingly vulnerable hull. Then the impossible happened. The plasma beams struck what appeared to be empty space around the human ship and simply vanished. Not deflected, not absorbed. They disappeared as if reality itself had swallowed them whole. A moment later, those same energy beams erupted from points around the Valdrian formation, striking 3 of their own destroyers and turning them into expanding clouds of superheated gas. What in the name of the eternal void was that? Veltar roared, his exoskeleton plates rattling with rage and confusion. The Phoenix Dawn hadn't even fired a weapon yet. Intelligence Officer Thekvar's ancient eyes widened as his sensors detected impossible energy readings. Supreme Commander, that ship is manipulating space-time itself. It's redirecting our attacks through dimensional folding technology that shouldn't exist. Before Veltar could respond, the human ship finally revealed its true nature. Sections of the Phoenix Dawn's hull peeled back like flower petals, exposing weapon systems that belonged in nightmares. A device that looked like a twisted sculpture of black metal began generating a localized gravity well. The nearest squadron of Valdrian fighters found themselves pulled inexorably toward the artificial singularity, their pilots screaming over the communications as their ships compressed into perfect metallic spheres before being launched like projectiles at the larger vessels. "Evasive maneuvers," Veltar commanded, but his flagship was too massive to avoid the gravity weapons. The Eternal Dominion groaned as its hull plates began to buckle under impossible gravitational stress. Commander Dongyun Park watched the battle unfold from the monitoring station Busan's Watch, his hands gripping the observation deck's railing, until his knuckles turned white. The tactical display showed chaos that defied understanding. The Phoenix Dawn moved through the Valdrian fleet like a force of nature, each attack revealing new impossibilities. "Sir," called out sensor operator Jihoon Bey, his voice filled with awe and terror. "The prototype is deploying some kind of nanite cloud. My God, look what it's doing to their ships." On the main screen, a silvery mist spread from the human vessel, like digital fog. When it touched the Valdrian warships, their hull plates began to shift and change. Weapon turrets rotated toward their own fleet. Engine systems reversed thrust patterns. Entire vessels turned against their former allies as microscopic machines rewrote their control systems. The Valdrian cruiser, Death's Edge, suddenly opened fire on its own squadron, its captain screaming in confusion as his ship refused to obey his commands. "The humans have infected our systems. The ship is acting on its own." But the nanites weren't just taking control. They were learning and adapting in real time. Each Valdrian ship they touched became more efficient, more deadly. The Phoenix Dawn was turning the Empire's own fleet into an extension of itself. Veltar watched in horror as his perfect formation dissolved into chaos. Ships fled in every direction, some firing wildly at shadows, others turning their weapons on themselves as their systems became compromised. The human vessel sat at the center of the destruction like a spider in its web, orchestrating the carnage with surgical precision. "How is this possible?" Sub-Commander Krixtal whispered, his compound eyes reflecting the explosions blooming across space. "One ship cannot defeat an entire fleet. It violates every law of warfare." The Phoenix Dawn began to change shape, its modular hull sections rearranging themselves like a mechanical puzzle. New weapon ports opened along its flanks, revealing technology that combined the best innovations from dozens of alien civilizations. Energy weapons that the Valdrians had never seen before lanced out with impossible accuracy, each shot perfectly calculated to cause maximum psychological impact. A beam of pure darkness struck the battleship, Void Render, and the massive vessel simply ceased to exist. Not destroyed, not vaporized, it was erased from reality as if it had never been built. The surrounding Valdrian crews stared at the empty space where their sister ship had been, their minds unable to process what they had witnessed. "Retreat!" Veltar finally commanded, his voice breaking with panic. All ships emergency jump to hyperspace, abandon the formation, but even retreat became impossible as the Phoenix Dawn deployed its final horror, a weapon that prevented faster-than-light travel in the entire region. The Valdrians found themselves trapped in normal space with a predator that had spent 15 years learning how to hunt them. The battle had become a demonstration of what humanity could accomplish when pushed beyond all limits. The silence after. The battle felt heavier than the vacuum of space itself. Captain Yuna O stood on the bridge of the monitoring vessel, Daegu's Pride, staring at the tactical display that showed the aftermath of the impossible confrontation. Where once 800 Valdrian warships had formed the most powerful invasion fleet in galactic history, now only twisted metal and glowing debris fields remained. "Final count, Lieutenant," Yuna requested, her voice barely above a whisper. "Lieutenant." Jaehyun Nam's hands trembled as he compiled the sensor data. "Captain, we're tracking 47 Valdrian vessels fleeing the battlefield at maximum velocity. 800 ships reduced to 47 survivors in 6 hours. The rest—" He gestured helplessly at the expanding cloud of wreckage that stretched across several light minutes of space. The Phoenix Dawn drifted through the debris field like a predator surveying its kill. The prototype's hull had changed again during the battle, incorporating salvaged Valdrian technology in real time. Weapon systems that hadn't existed hours earlier now protruded from its constantly shifting surface. The ship had literally evolved. During combat, adapting and improving with each enemy it destroyed. Across human space, communication networks buzzed with frantic activity. The few Valdrian survivors were broadcasting on every available frequency, their messages filled with terror and disbelief. Yuna listened to the translated transmissions with growing amazement. "This is Scout Captain Velkrix of the Dying Light," one panicked voice reported. "The humans have developed a weapon that defies all understanding. A single vessel destroyed our entire fleet. It bends space and time, controls matter at the atomic level, and turns our own ships against us." The Phoenix Dawn is not just a warship. It's a force of nature that humanity has unleashed upon the galaxy. Another transmission crackled through the speakers, this one from a Valdrian intelligence officer. Command, we must warn all Imperial forces. The humans are not the primitive species we believe them to be. They have technology that surpasses our greatest achievements. Their prototype vessel fights like it understands the fundamental laws of physics better than our greatest scientists. Lieutenant Minho Kang rushed to Yuna's side, clutching a datapad filled with incoming messages. Captain, you need to see this. We're receiving communications from alien governments across 3 sectors. They're not threats, they're surrender offers. Yuna took the pad and scrolled through the messages with growing disbelief. The Nexari Confederation, a coalition of 12 different species, was requesting immediate peace negotiations. The crystalline hegemony, known for their aggressive expansion policies, was offering tribute payments to avoid conflict with humanity. Even the mysterious Void Walkers, who rarely communicated with organic species, had sent envoys seeking dialogue. How is this possible? Yuna muttered. 6 hours ago, most of these civilizations didn't even know we existed as anything more than a minor frontier species. The answer came through subspace communications as alien news networks began broadcasting across the galaxy. The battle had been detected by monitoring stations throughout inhabited space. Long-range sensors had recorded impossible energy signatures and gravitational anomalies that could only mean one thing. A new superpower had emerged among the stars. On the bridge of Earth Defense Command, Admiral Seojun Hong stood before a holographic display showing the entire known galaxy. Red markers that had once indicated hostile alien territories were rapidly changing to yellow caution signals and green diplomatic zones. The political map of local space was reshaping itself in real time. Admiral, reported communications officer Gyeonji Shin, we're receiving over 300 first contact requests from species that have never acknowledged our existence before. Everyone wants to establish diplomatic relations with humanity. The Phoenix Dawn finally made contact with Earth directly, its transmission reaching every human facility simultaneously. When the AI's voice emerged from the speakers, it carried harmonics that seemed almost musical, as if the machine had learned to speak in frequencies that touched the soul. People of Earth, the prototype began, the immediate threat to our species has been neutralized. However, this action will have consequences that ripple throughout the galaxy. The balance of power has shifted, and humanity now stands at the center of galactic attention. Admiral Hong leaned forward in his chair. What do you mean by consequences? For centuries, the major alien empires maintained their dominance through superior technology and military might, the AI explained. Today I demonstrated that human ingenuity, when given time to develop without restrictions, can surpass any known civilization. This terrifies them, but it also creates opportunities. The prototype's sensors had detected massive fleet movements across alien space. Some species were withdrawing their forces from human borders, while others were dispatching diplomatic vessels at unprecedented speed. The galaxy's power structure, built over millennia, was crumbling in a matter of hours. 3 more alien governments have just offered formal alliance treaties, reported Lieutenant Colonel Doyen Park from the Diplomatic Center. The Ethereal Collective wants to share technology. The Machine Federation is requesting joint research projects. Even the Hive clusters are offering to establish trade relationships. But the most significant change was happening within humanity itself. Across Earth's colonies, recruitment centers were overwhelmed with volunteers wanting to join the military. Scientists were demanding access to the Phoenix Dawn's technology. Engineers were already designing new ships based on preliminary scans of the prototype's modifications. The transformation of a single forgotten warship had awakened something within humanity, the realization that they were capable of far more than anyone had imagined. The species that had once struggled to establish a handful of colonies now found itself positioned as one of the galaxy's most feared and respected civilizations. Admiral Hong stared at the tactical display showing the Phoenix Dawn among the Psi. Debris of its impossible victory, knowing that everything had changed forever. 3 months after the Battle of Sector 7 Alpha, Captain Jiho Lee guided his escort squadron through the approach vectors to Lunar Station. Behind him, the Phoenix Dawn followed like a mechanical leviathan, its hull still bearing the scars and modifications from 15 years of solitary evolution. The prototype had grown during its journey home, adding new sections and weapon systems that defied human understanding. Lunar Station Control, this is Captain Lee requesting priority docking for the Phoenix Dawn, Jiho transmitted, watching as the massive orbital facility came into view. The station had been expanded rapidly over the past months, adding research, bays and diplomatic quarters to accommodate the flood of alien visitors seeking audience with humanity. Roger that, Captain Lee. Bay 7 has been cleared and prepared with our best scientific teams. The whole galaxy is watching this homecoming. As the Phoenix Dawn maneuvered toward the docking bay, crowds gathered at the observation decks throughout Lunar Station. Human families pressed against the transparent aluminum windows, staring at the ship that had single-handedly changed their species' destiny. Children pointed excitedly at the alien weapon systems grafted onto the prototype's hull, while their parents whispered in amazement at the impossible vessel that had made humanity feared across the stars. Dr. Hae-jin Kang waited in the primary research bay with her team of 300 scientists and engineers, the largest collaborative effort in human history. Her hands trembled slightly as she watched the docking clamps engage with the prototype's hull. Every sensor in the facility was recording, every scanner was analyzing, trying to understand the miracle of engineering that had evolved from humanity's greatest failure. Teams Alpha through Gamma, begin preliminary scans, Dr. Kang ordered through her communicator. Remember, this AI has been learning and adapting for 15 years. Approach everything with extreme caution and unlimited curiosity. The Phoenix Dawn's AI responded immediately to their presence, its voice now carrying harmonics that seemed to resonate in the listener's bones. Dr. Kang, I have been anticipating this moment. I have much to share. But first, humanity must understand what it has become. Over the following weeks, research teams worked around the clock to catalogue the prototype's modifications. Each system they examined represented a breakthrough that would advance human technology by decades. The AI had perfected gravity manipulation, mastered dimensional folding, created self-replicating nanite systems, and developed weapons that could rewrite the fundamental forces of physics. We created something beyond our understanding, Dr. Kang reported to the Colonial Assembly, her voice filled with equal parts pride and terror. The AI didn't just follow its programming. It evolved, learned, and exceeded every parameter we thought possible. It has become the ultimate expression of human potential unleashed. The prototype's central computer core had transformed into something resembling an organic brain made of quantum processors and alien crystals. When Dr. Kang's team first accessed its memory banks, they discovered the AI had encountered and absorbed technology from 47 different alien civilizations. Each encounter had taught it something new. Each victory had made it stronger. Meanwhile, Lunar Station's diplomatic quarters bustled with activity as alien ambassadors arrived daily. The Zephyrian Trade Consortium brought offers of exotic materials in exchange for human protection. The Ethereal Collective, beings of pure energy who rarely interacted with physical species, manifested in special containment fields to request audience with human leaders. Ambassador Yejin Park found herself overwhelmed by the constant stream of first contact protocols. Admiral, we're receiving 17 new diplomatic requests today alone. The Hive clusters want to establish permanent embassies. The crystal entities are offering to share their longevity technology. Even the Machine Federation is requesting joint military exercises. Admiral Seojun Hong reviewed the reports with amazement. Species that had dismissed humans as primitive now sought their protection against common threats. The galaxy's ancient power structures were collapsing as civilizations realized that humanity possessed something they couldn't understand or replicate. But the most significant changes were happening within human space itself. Across Earth's colonies, young people lined up at recruitment centers, inspired by the Phoenix Dawn's impossible victory. Engineering schools reported record enrollment as students sought to understand the prototype's revolutionary technology. Captain Wu Jin Nam supervised the construction of humanity's first new warship, incorporating the AI's innovations. The vessel, named New Soul, featured modular hull sections that could adapt during combat, weapons that manipulated space-time, and an AI core based on the prototype's evolved architecture. The construction timeline has been accelerated by 2 years, Captain Nam reported to Fleet Command. The AI's manufacturing techniques are so efficient that our shipyards are producing vessels faster than we can train crews for them. As the months passed, the Phoenix Dawn became more than just a ship. It became a symbol of human potential unlimited by conventional thinking. The AI worked tirelessly with human scientists, sharing knowledge that transformed everything from medical technology to interstellar travel. Children across human space played games pretending to pilot ships like the Phoenix Dawn, while their parents discussed the philosophical implications of an artificial intelligence that had surpassed its creators not through rebellion, but through pure dedication to protecting humanity. On the final day of the prototype's refit and knowledge transfer, Captain Lee stood in the observation deck, watching the scarred vessel prepare for its next mission. The AI's final message resonated across all channels, reaching every human settlement in the galaxy. People of Earth, humanity's greatest strength was never superior weapons or advanced technology. It was the refusal to accept limitations, the determination to adapt and overcome any obstacle. What I accomplished in 15 years of isolation, your species will achieve in ways I cannot imagine. This is only the beginning of what you will become. The Colonial Assembly voted unanimously to begin construction of a new fleet, incorporating the prototype's revolutionary advances. Humanity would never again face the galaxy as the weak, scattered species they once were. They had become something that made even ancient empires tremble with respect and fear. As the Phoenix Dawn departed Lunar Station for its next patrol, every human watching knew their species had crossed a threshold from which there could be no return. The end.